Have a plan. It's going to get dark a little bit after 2 throughout the state. The eclipse is going to move throughout through the state, starting in Greenville through Columbia down to out of Charleston. And it's going to be something that's unusual. And as much as people say, I'm prepared for that, they may look up and the car in front of them stops. Or they may do something that's unexpected and the people around them aren't prepared. So what I'd encourage the people of South Carolina to do is have a plan. Know what you're going to do about that time of day and carry out that plan. Get with your family, get with your friends, and enjoy the event. Take a little bit of time. Take some time off. Now, as far as the things that could occur, we are prepared. South Carolina is prepared. Team South Carolina is ready, as we always are. And to cover some of those details, I'm going to turn this over to Director Kim Stinson with the Emergency Management. Kim?
Thank you, sir. A couple items. You know, as the General said, everything we're doing here is precautionary. We don't expect any kind of major event, but we do want to be in a position to respond if we need to local authorities. We will be opening the State Emergency Operations Center here in West Columbia on that day, and we'll have our staff and selected members of other state agencies, again, to be able to assist local authorities. We expect a good number of people here, and we expect people to obviously be prepared, like the General said. We've got an excellent website at scemd.org/Total Eclipse, and that's all one word, and that's an excellent resource for people to turn to actually plan. But we will be here. We will be prepared if something does happen. I'll turn it over to Major Woods. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Director Stinson. Good morning. I'm Major Rob Woods with the Highway Patrol. I serve as the Emergency Management Coordinator for the Department of Public Safety. On behalf of Director Leroy Smith and Colonel Chris Williamson, I want to assure the citizens of South Carolina that the Department of Public Safety is working carefully with its state partners and with local officials to prepare for traffic issues surrounding the eclipse and to ensure a safe and memorable experience for South Carolina citizens and visitors. South Carolina has, of course, a very experienced emergency management team that has worked very successfully through a number of natural disasters, to include winter storms and the Great Flood, as well as Hurricane Matthew. But at the same time, while this event is not a natural disaster, it's not a life-threatening emergency, we are not complacent. Discussions and planning efforts have been underway since November of 2016 among SCDPS, SCDOT, and SCEMD officials to develop traffic management plans to mitigate any possible congestion through proactive incident response and traffic direction. For SCDPS, what this means is all of our Highway Patrol troops will operate at maximum strength and with supplemental personnel from our headquarters troops and the State Transport Police. And these assets will be in place starting on Friday, August 18th through the eclipse date of Monday, August 21st. These personnel will primarily be assigned to line patrol along interstate highways around the state's major urban areas. So that will, of course, be the day of the eclipse, will be augmented by personnel stationed at fixed traffic control points along portions of Interstate 26, as well as on designated U.S. highways. As SC continues with its response and planning activities, we encourage the public to do the same. In this regard, we want to first of all encourage the public to manage their expectations. Okay, first and foremost, there will be congestion and there will be delays. Secondly, we want folks to use good common sense when it comes to avoiding congested highways. So what are some of the recommended actions there? Well, if you can use an alternate route, use an alternate route. Leave early if you're headed to an event. In addition to that, in order to avoid that congestion that's going to happen around the rush hour, it happens every day, You may want to plan to leave those events that you're attending early or to wait a little bit longer, a little bit beyond the rush hour before you leave. And most importantly, we want folks to be patient and to be courteous. The final action item we think is really critical is just to remain safe and to encourage safety. So some of the things that we want folks to think about is, first of all, don't stop in the road. All right, don't stop in the road, don't stop on shoulders, don't stop on emergency lanes. Not only is that unlawful, but it's very, very dangerous. If you're going to view this event, go to a safe viewing location. That's the best option that you have. Do not become distracted or inattentive. That's something that the general mentioned specifically. As you're driving, focus on your driving task, but also look for other folks who are becoming inattentive or distracted. Report disabled motorists, report collisions that you see, and report unsafe drivers. All right, and do that to the Highway Patrol or to local law enforcement. And then the other item there, which it may seem like sort of a common sense thing in and of itself, but we don't take anything for granted, don't wear those eclipse glasses while you're driving. Right. Now, I have nothing further. Thank you, and we again encourage people to plan. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Tom Johnson from SCDOT.
Thank you, newly promoted Major Woods. South Carolina Department of Transportation works diligently in support and along with the Highway Patrol in planning a lot of these functions and how we react to them. Some of the things that the DOT are going to be doing even prior to the eclipse is we're going to be suspending lane closures. A lot of our construction and maintenance that are going on, those will be suspended from the 19th to the 22nd, so as to not create any more congestion as necessary. Our overhead message boards that you see along our interstates will be posted with messages reminding drivers to be safe. They'll be notifying you of any congestion along the way. Utilizing our 511 system will also give you that information. The day of the eclipse, as Major Woods said, we're going to be putting a message on there is, don't look up, don't look at the sun while driving, don't stop on the interstates, and again, can't emphasize enough, do not wear these glasses while you're driving. They're meant for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to look at the sun during an eclipse. They are complete blackout glasses. So with those things in mind, traffic safety is paramount. Our incident responders, our SHEP guys and gals will be out there along the I-26 corridor and other areas of the state assisting motorists that are in trouble, or maybe the congestion is too bad to where they've overheated or whatever. So those SHEP teams will be out there patrolling the interstates and assisting those motorists. And as Major Woods said, there will be delays. I mean, there are numbers floating out there of 800,000 to 1.2 million per state. So it's a very congested time, and some of the states, along with DOT, are doing everything we can to assist the motoring public. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Alvin Taylor with the Department of Natural Resources, and we'll be given a great opportunity here in a few weeks for our citizens and many visitors to have an opportunity to come to our state for this event. Here at DNR, we know that some of the primary viewing sites will be our waterways, or especially our state lakes, such as Lake Murray here in Columbia. So we have a couple of tips we'd like to pass on to those that plan to view this event from our waterways. If you're trailering your boat, you've heard about congestion, and you're going to use a public launching site, it's going to be congested as well. So plan ahead, leave early, be patient. And on a busy Saturday, many times our public launching sites can get backed up. So we are expecting that to happen here. So once again, plan ahead. And like any other special event on our waters, sometimes our boat owners don't plan very well. And they'll be picking up a neighbor at the last minute, or they'll be talking the night before and say, come, go with me. I'm going to go out on the lake and view this. Make sure you have adequate life jackets or PFDs. Don't forget those. It will be extremely important. If you have an emergency event on the water, you'll need those PFDs, those life jackets on board. And we've been asked many times, how about lights on our boats? Do we have to turn our lights on during that period of time? Well, it's going to be dark, as we've heard. But our state law will not require you to have those lights on, because our state law simply says from sunset to sunrise. But we would ask that you do so. It's going to be dark just like 12 o'clock at night on Lake Murray, and you're headed across the lake. You're going to have your lights on. You should have your lights on your boats that day, just for safety reasons. We know we're having marine events already being scheduled and planned for raft ups on our lakes for people to go and raft up and watch this event. Once you get there, stay there. Wait until the event's over. Wait until it's light again before you start headed back into your launching site to retrieve your boat and head back home or wherever you may be going. Use common sense. I think everybody's going to say that. Use common sense. Our roadways are going to be backed up. If you're trailering, plan for that to get to your ramp site. Our boat ramps are going to be congested and back up. Plan for that so you'll get there in a hurry. Or you may find yourself watching the eclipse from a boat ramp parking lot and not on the water where you wanted to be. Turn your lights on your boats and have your life jackets on board. And use common sense and be safe. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Lillian Peak. I'm the Director of Public Health at DHEC, and I want to share 3 tips on how you can stay healthy during this exciting event and keep your family healthy as well. So the first thing to think about is be mindful of the heat. There are steps you can take to prevent heat-related illness. Stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, avoid alcohol and too much caffeine. Stay in the shade as much as you can, and if you wear loose-fitting, light-colored clothing, that can also help. The second tip is to be aware of the sun and protect your skin. So make sure you're wearing sunblock and look at the instructions to reapply sunblock as needed throughout the day. The third and probably most important thing for this event is you really have to protect your eyes. To view the partially eclipsed or uneclipsed sun, you cannot look at it safely directly with your bare eyes, and your regular sunglasses will not protect you. So you need special solar lenses to be able to view directly the partial eclipsed or uneclipsed sun. There are devices out there that are available. There are eclipse viewing glasses and handheld devices. Unfortunately, not all of those devices that are being sold are being found to be effective. So please go to the EMD and DHEC website and look for the link that will take you to a list of reputable companies. I encourage you to make sure that you have an effective device. Also, watch your children. Make sure that you place the devices on your children if you want them to view this event with you, and monitor them the entire time. One last thing is that even if you wear the special solar lenses and you're protecting your eyes, you cannot use them to then look through an unfiltered telescope or binoculars. The rays coming through those lenses will be concentrated, and they can damage those solar lenses, and you can get eye damage. So this is really important. If you do not use the special solar filters and lenses, you can experience very serious eye damage, including blindness. So again, the 3 tips. Think about the heat, stay hydrated. Protect your skin, use sunblock. And absolutely protect your eyes and use special solar lenses. Thank you.
Well, anytime that you have a lot of people in a very concentrated area, you have a possibility of nefarious events occurring, outside actors, And we're working that through state law enforcement. We're prepared to deal with those security situations. So we're looking at any type of a mass event. So, in addition to the safety questions that I think we've already talked about, the traffic, it's just like any event, like a football game. You got to be prepared for just about anything. That's what I'm hearing. I mean, it's a once in a generation, and for some people, a once in a lifetime event. And it occurs over a very narrow band throughout the United States. And, South Carolina is a great place to visit. So it gives people an excuse to be here. So I mean, you look at the numbers that we attract to the beach and we attract to the mountains just during a normal summer. This event is very realistic to have that type of number. And to have the associated traffic and everything else.
One of the major aspects of this is keeping the roadways open. There will be some closures, I know, within certain towns or municipalities for parades or different things of that nature. But as far as our U.S. highways, interstates, all of those will remain open. Ravenel will be probably a pretty good viewing location on the walkway, not stopping on the bridge. But our whole idea is to keep traffic moving. Well, DOT in conjunction with Highway Patrol, local law enforcement, we're going to do whatever's necessary to keep the traffic moving. I am sure that there are going to be people that's going to pull off the side of the road.
Will you create like green light tunnels on certain roads, U.S. highways?
Well, all of the dynamic message signs that we have around the state will be continuously throwing messages out there, especially during the day of the eclipse, of do not stop on roadways, do not drive with your eclipse glasses, things of that nature. And then there will be roving patrols going around to SHEP guys, also Highway Patrol, local law enforcement and such, doing those reminders. News casts will be very, very helpful in throwing that message out that it is extremely dangerous on any given day to stop on an interstate for any reason. This day in particular because of the amount of traffic that will be out there and the people looking up. There is a concern, I know that under the EMS and fire, they have looked at certain venues. I'm not, don't have all the venues sitting in front of me, but they have looked at those for alternative routes. They're going to be tracking it just like we are. There are emergency operations centers in some counties, if not all of the eclipsed counties, are going to have some skeleton staff along with us here at EMD. So we'll assist that in the 511 system, also in the intelligent transportation system. And again, it's going to be hit and miss on the roadways based on where these venues are going to be located.
And just what we would encourage is if you don't, it's kind of like any other large event. If you don't have to be on the road, don't put yourself out there. Get off the road during an event. What we would ideally like to see is that the traffic actually decrease during the event, so we don't have to worry about these congestions. We want to worry about congestions before and afterwards, not during. So please make sure that you have somewhere that you can park. It's going to be a great temptation if you're driving during that time to look up because it's just so historic. So just find somewhere to go. This is part of that planning ahead. Find somewhere to park, enjoy the event. Don't be in a rush that day. Plan ahead like all the directors have said, and be somewhere where you can have fun with this, not where you're frustrated or you're in the middle of traffic or causing the traffic.
It's very difficult this time to assign any specific expectations, but common sense would dictate that at any time during the rush hours, there's already going to be high volumes of traffic on the highways. These events are going to take place obviously around 2:30. If they extend into the rush hour, then we reasonably expect there to be high volumes of traffic at the rush hour. It is important to recall from my brief that we will have numbers of highway patrolmen already staffed along the interstate highways, at U.S. highways, at specific points, that if congestion becomes extreme to the point of standstill, that we will be in a posture along key portions of interstate to relieve that pressure by diverting traffic. So we have expected that. We would expect those issues to arise when they would commonly arise, and we have measures in place to manage it. But if it comes to the point where it is at a critical standstill, we would do as we would in any instance where we have that type of traffic congestion, which is arrange for a traffic diversion. The benefit in this situation is we'll already have those people pre-positioned. So where in some instances, say for a collision where it's unexpected, it takes a little bit more time to respond, we'll have people not just at traffic control points that what we have assessed as being key portions of interstate and U.S. highways, but also larger numbers of people on line patrol that we can assign to that task. As far as on the day of the eclipse, those assigned specifically to this detail. This is beyond what we would normally have assigned for line patrol. And just so that you understand, or I should say for calls for service, those folks who are normally assigned will be working that day. And actually, we will be at maximum strength because rest days have been reassigned. But we will have 160 people currently assigned to this plan.
Another 160 on the road or 160?
That is 160 people who are assigned to this task beyond that which is already assigned to normal calls for service.
And how many are normally assigned?
I don't have that number. I can tell you for this plan specifically, those assigned to what we consider to be the Eclipse Incident Action Plan, there's 160 personnel. I don't want to say that it's unique. This is an extremely unique event. It's impacting almost the entire state at the same time. With that said, though, our relationships that we've developed with our key state partners, such as SEDOT, as well as local officials, has made this planning process move along at a very efficient pace. So we believe that we have done sufficient coordination, and our plans are sufficiently robust at this point to address that. I think it's important to acknowledge, though, that the plan itself, as any plan is, it is modular and it's scalable. So if we have to add additional personnel, we will be in a position to add additional personnel. If we find on the day of the event that some of these things that we are reasonably anticipating don't occur, then we can reassign those personnel. So that's how we're looking at it. We have the core plan built, which we think is sufficient to address contingencies that they've currently been identified, and we can expand that or we can contract that depending on how conditions on the ground evolve.
I would summarize it. This is, we talk about the planning of this event. It is a known event. We have very experienced departments throughout the state. We handle, football games and things like that all the time, which are very localized but very dense population. So our public safety, our DOT, our local law enforcement, they are well prepared. And just encourage people of South Carolina to enjoy this event. Stay off the roads. We're going to have enough visitors out there creating congestion. You know where you're going to go do and view the event. Just get there early. Just enjoy yourself. And I will tell you from my perspective and my family, and I got a big family. I got 4 kids and 5 grandkids. They are all excited about it. So this is going to be fun.